Bring your mind to quietude. Get out all the unnecessary thoughts. Back at home, even here. Whatever thoughts are there in the mind, just throw them out. Because to pursue the study of Mandukya, we need a quiet, what can I say, a peaceful mind. A mind which is seeking its fulfillment in the understanding, that requires a quiet mind. Not you're going in the gullies of the world, interested in so many silly things. Is it not? So, withdrawing the mind to its own dhamam, let us say. And its dhamam is nothing but the Atman, the self, is the first, not merely start studying. When you take a car out on a long journey, you see to it that it is roadworthy. Or a plane, it should be airworthy. Similarly, a mind which is we are taking it to deep study of the Upanishad, then it also must be made meditation worthy. Not enough that I want to learn. Not through the intellect. Don't try to reach there with the intellect. Intellect is not the vehicle. The vehicle is an intuitive mind. And an intuitive mind is possible only when the mind is calm and serene. So this 1 hour, you have to give me your minds. Forget about them. Let us see whether I can repair it and give it back to you. Have you understood? To the doctor we give our body. We have so much faith. Is it not? Cut or do what you want. But I have faith in you. That type of faith one should have in the study of the scriptures. So actually though everybody frightens you saying Mandukya is very, very tough, etc., I should tell you it is not so tough. Why? Because it doesn't take 100 topics for discussion. It takes only the one topic which should take you to your own fulfillment. So it is not all that difficult. And the first steps, making it meditation worthy, is look at yourself. What happens in the waking state? What happens in the dream state? What happens in the deep sleep state? This analysis of the 3 states of consciousness is what finally lands you in the Turyatma, the 4th. There is no 4th, as I told you yesterday. It is a Maya Sankhya. 4th is only with reference to the 3. See, somebody said, the 7th idli filled my stomach and fulfilled my hunger. How can the 7th idli fulfill the hunger? What about all the 6 that went? You understand? Without the 6th there is no 7th. Without the 3 states of consciousness there is no 4th states of consciousness. With reference to the 3 is the 4th. So figuratively we say, 7th idli filled my stomach. That's all. But really speaking, 7 idlis filled my stomach. Similarly here, don't think it is the 4th. Then you say it is the 4th, then you are giving it a place and time and a location. There is no such thing. All-pervading Brahman doesn't have a location. Is it not? Where is it? What is the address? And what is the dress of Brahman? Nobody can say. It neither has an address nor a dress. Why? Because totally naked always. No dress. And where is that dress? Everywhere. So address also shouldn't ask. They say in you, in him, in everyone. That's the difficulty. If it's only in me, I can think of Brahman easily. But he is also there, everywhere he is, you are saying. So then it becomes difficult. First, before we start, then let us pray to the Lord to give us the necessary Shraddha, to give us the ability to listen and understand. Is it not? All that is required. Merely starting studying will not help. As though your brain is so great that Brahman also can be swallowed by it. First of all, get an idea that your brain is such a puny little dog. Dare to think of the highest. That is where the brain is great. Not otherwise. Not that its powers are superior. But human brain dares to soar. Again, that's also the gift of God. But what you understand by the intellect is not what you know by intuition. So let us pray to the Lord at the beginning of the Upanishad. I am not going to make any definition of Upanishad and all, which all you should know by heart by this time. Why waste time? Upanishad. And Shad has got 3 meanings. Gadi, Visharanam, Shidhilikaranam. Thus we have seen all this in Mundaka Upanishad Bhashya. That it takes you to the Gadi, it destroys the samsaric sorrows and it Shidhilikaranam, makes it into powder almost, all the sorrows. This is what Upanishad does. Upanishad is meant for the student who is become ripe in his search for a higher truth. For him alone. That's why we keep on insisting, if you are coming from Mandukya, please be exposed before. Otherwise don't come. Gurudev used to close the door. If you are coming to attending my class, then only you are coming. So, 6,000 listeners in the evening class, there will be only 300 for the Mandukya class in the morning. As he says, others won't understand, don't come. He will say. Anyway, I won't discourage you for coming, but make yourself available to yourself and to me. Okay? Let us pray to the Lord first. Omkaram bindu samyuktam. You also say. Nityam dhyayanti yoginaha kamadam mokshadam chaiva Omkaraya namo namaha Andarjyoti Bahirjyoti Pratyakjyoti Paratparaha Jyotirjyoti Swayam Jyoti Atmajyoti Shivosmyaham Asangoham, 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 punah punah. Sachidanandarupoham ahamevahamavyam Jagrat swapna sushuptishu Sputatara Yasam vidujrimbade Ya brahmadi Pipilikanta tanushu Proda jagat sakshini Saivaham naja drishyavastiti Drida prajna yasyasti jet Chandalostu sadudvijostu gururityesha manisha mama. Now I want to pray to the Lord. At least let this throat open. Isn't it? This throat seems to be closing every time. Anyway, in the Bhagavad there is the Dhruva Stuti. Dhruva prays to the Lord Narayana and says, O Lord, may you enliven my words, which is very, very important to a person who is giving discourses. Because he says, Yonta pravishya. No, I think most of you know. Yonta pravishya mama vacha mimam prasuptam. Sanjivayati akhila shakti dhara swadhamna. Anyamscha hasta charana shravanattvagadin. Anyamscha hasta charana pranan namo bhagavade purushaya tubhyam. So in this beautiful stuti, Dhruva says, my words are sleeping within me. And who is bringing it to life? Akhila Shakti Dhara. Thou who art the embodiment of all Shakti, you bring it to flowering. Only if you decide that I should talk, I will talk. Otherwise I will not talk. So who is the one who talks really? Bhagavan talks. Let us take it that way. Only the instrument is broken at this moment. But Bhagavan is the one who is talking. With the moment he says, I am not going to talk, then you say, Okay. So, with my prostrations at the feet of the Lord, at all of your feet, because you are all great Bhagavadas, wanting to know the truth, daring to know the truth. So, my prostrations to the whole Sabha. Let us enter into the Shantipada. Mandukya is from the Atharva Veda and considered to be on a very grand pinnacle among the 10 Upanishads. It is held very in high regard even by Acharya Shankara, because it's not like other Upanishads. Otherwise, why should Bhagavan Shankara write Bhashya even for the Karikas? Karika itself is explanatory shlokas for the Upanishad. Upanishad is very small, 12 verses. And they are not verses also, they are only prose. For these 12 prose passages, Bhagavan Shankara writes the Bhashya, one of the greatest Bhashyas he had written. And also he undertakes to take the 215 Karigas for Bhashya, which he has never done for any other Upanishad. Which shows in what great regard Shankara held this Upanishad. And the great master, who was a Shrotriya and Brahmanishta, who was not an ordinary man, who has taken these 12 verses from the Mandukya, from the Atharvana Veda, and expanded it with the 215 Karigas, without the help of which we will never be able to understand this Upanishad. So, in the 215 Karigas, what Gaudapada has done is referred to the Shruti to support his views. Shrutya. Shrutya means Shruti. What Shruti has done about Omkara, for example. He has given so many examples from Kathopanishad, from Mundakopanishad, from very many Upanishads which talks, Edad Alambanam Shreshtam, says the Kathopanishad, this Omkara. And when he talks about the Omkara Upasana, he is referring to the Shrutis. It is not mere, what can I say, from his intellect he is saying something. Kapola Nirmidam, no. It is from the Shruti. He is quoting the Shabda Pramanam to verify his own stand. Okay? Now, not only that Shruti has said so. If Shruti says 20 times that water is not cold but hot, they are not going to accept it. Why? My experience is different. So, it should go with your own experience, not merely by saying. It should also go by logic. So, he says Shrutya. Shrutya, Yuktya. Yukti means logic. It should be relevant as far as logic is concerned. And not even these two things are enough, that logically you can prove, and Shruti has said it before, even then you are not going to accept it unless there is an example. A drishtantam should be there, which tells us it is possible. A Ramana Maharshi should be born, a Ramakrishna Paramahamsa should be born, a Sri Krishna should be born. Is it not? For you to underline the words of the Shruti and to underline the logic. So merely saying, oh, it is logic, it is illogical. All scriptures are illogical. Such blanket statements we make. But then how do you explain great masters? Can we prove their experience by any type of argumentation? Any type of nayayiga? Nyaya. Nyaya Vaisheshigas, Sankhyanas. No. Their experience does not come under the heading of anything. It's beyond all logic. In fact, we say where logic stops, spirituality starts. So long as logic is there, that is Kapola Nirmidam only. Have you studied Nyaya sometime? Then you will know it is true. It's all mental gymnastics. That is all. Afterwards they say that is beyond logic. So we talk about it deeply about the Upanishad. They say that is beyond logic. So here, Gaudapada, as far as possible, he quotes the Shruti and say the great masters have said so. And by logic, he proves in the Karigas that all other systems of philosophy, Nyaya Vaisheshikas, Sankhya's, Dvaidins, and Buddhists, all of them are defeated by their own arguments. That is the beauty. We didn't argue. Advaita has no quarrel with anybody. Like somebody says, Advaita contains the word Dvaita. Dvaita does not contain the word Advaita. So we need not defeat anybody. By quoting all these Nayayikas, Vaisheshikas, etc., Gaudapada is proving that they are wrong. That is the work of the Karika. And before he starts the Karika, such is his regard and respect for his great grand teacher in the Guru Shishya Parampara, the illustrious predecessor, Gaudapada, that he writes 2 verses praising the Turiya and the Jiva. Both of them he praises in 2 verses which are considered very famous. So before we enter into the Bhashya style, we will do the Shantipada. Why Shantipada? Because the mind is not at all Shantam. So you are coming from the outer world. At least in the ashram there is no such problem. You are coming from the outer world. You are bringing all the worldly problems also into the class. So remove all of them. Keep a crystal clear mind ready to, like the board we clean beautifully before writing. So also wipe your mind clean of all ragadvesha, all prejudices. Otherwise, you will try to accommodate what you hear to what your prejudice is, which is not true understanding. Is that clear? Then there will be no understanding, because you are always covering it with your own ideas. In the many years that we have been with the scriptures, we would have collected so much of knowledge along with so much of muck. What is the muck part of it, we don't know. Always trying to make the scripture to endorse your views, please don't do that. Do you understand? Try as much as you can to go by what the scripture says. Then only we will gain from the study. Otherwise, we will only be putting a nice dress for your own wrong thoughts, which will not be correct. So let us keep an open mind, in other words. Guruji used to say, if you are a seeker of truth, what is it that you require? That you are ready to give up all your pet beliefs, pet prejudices. Just because I believed in it for 10 years, it does not mean it is something great. No such thing. Any pet theory which I have been holding so dear, I am ready to give it up. In the light of the new knowledge I am going to get. Only such a student is going to benefit from the knowledge of the scriptures. So let us see. Oh Lord, during this 1 month when I am going to study the Mandukya, what should happen? So, that is a Shanti mantra is sung both by the teacher and the taught during the Upanishad classes. And it is a prayer to the Lord. O Lord, Bhadram Karne Bhishrunuyama. May we hear only what is auspicious. Always let our ears hear good news. Let us not expect bad tidings from anywhere. So, with our ears always what is auspicious. Bhadram Pashyem Akshabhir Yajatravo Devas. Oh, great beings, the celestial beings. Pashyem, this is actually the Atharva Veda Shanti Patham. Pashyema Akshabhir, each month Vedas have its own Shanti Patham. And Atharva Veda has this Shanti Patham. Let me see what is auspicious. May I see the whole of today what is auspicious. Sthirairangaihi. We have done this so many times before. So many Upanishads are gone by. Let us just go fast. Sthirairangaihi stushtuvagamsas tanubihi. May my mind be, may my body be steady and strong. May I be able to do this job which I have undertaken for myself with a firm body. Sthirairangai. Sthirairangaihi stushtuvagamsastanubihi veshema devahitam. Let me do what will please the Lord. Devahitam. Let me walk the path of the dharma, what is given in the dharma shastras, what is appreciated by the Lord. So before doing any action, will the Lord approve? If you ask this question, we will never do wrong things at all. Every time you ask, what I am going to do, is it okay with the Lord? If you say, I don't know, it may not be, then don't do it. Will it be appreciated by people what I am going to do? No. Then don't do. How to live a dharmic way of life is like that. Will the Lord appreciate my doing this? Such work which are acceptable to God and the society, only I should be doing. I will do only that. Devahitam yadayuhu sustina. May we live the entire length of our allotted life. Don't want to try to commit suicide in between. Like we are doing nowadays. Everywhere suicides are increasing because they have left the Lord. There is no support. When the things go wrong, the next best way thing is to commit suicide. In the olden times, such an idea was not there. They sahanam sarvadukkhanam apradikara purvagam. That tidiksha they had. Nowadays people don't have tidiksha. Because they go running around in the world and doing this and doing that and failing in everything. And then they say now the only way out is. So, he says, may we live our allotted life peacefully. May we have the courage to face life, not run away from life. Sustina Indro Vriddashravaha, Sustina Pusha Vishwavedaha. All these are the various Vedic gods. In those days there were no Puranic gods, only Vedic gods. Indra, Marud, Pusha, Agni, all those gods, Vriddashravaha, Sustina, they give us Susti, they bless us. Susti, Nastarsho, Arishtanemihi, Garuda, who is Arishtanemi, who is the remover of all obstacles, let him bless us. Sustino Brihaspati Dadadu, let the Deva Guru Brihaspati give us the knowledge to understand this Upanishad. I am not going to understand it by my own little brain. I seek the blessings of all gods. Thus, with a prayer to the Lord, we start. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti are the three Shantis. Adi Bhaudiga, Adi Deiviga, Adhyatmiga obstacles are all set at rest. Adi Deiviga, what comes from unknown sources, may Shanti, may it not happen when we are studying. Now suppose when we are studying, tsunami or something like that happen, then all study will come to an end. May it not happen. Shanti, Shanti. May not the people around us disturb our concentration. May their little small thinking lead to some riot or something which will disturb the peace of the environment, and thus I lose the ability to concentrate. So, peace, Adi Bhaudiga. But worse than both these is Adhyatmiga disturbance. My mind itself gives a lot of disturbance. Adhyatmiga means which is because of your own mind. Adhyatmigam, born out of your own mind. And what does the mind say? What? Now let us know what will we gain by studying this Upanishad. If I don't give you a convincing answer, you may disappear from the class. Is it not? Is there anything? Will I get any utility? What is the advantage? Because we are utilitarians by nature. So the teacher says you will get nothing. Will I get money? No, unless you are ready to sell it. Okay. Will I get good health? Nobody is promising. If you live an intelligent life, you will have good health. Will I get name and fame? How can we say? Great men are ignored by the society. Charlatans are upheld in this society. So how do you know? Nobody can say. This is not in our hands. Then what will I get by studying this? What will you get? At least you must answer. Huh?
I have come to know myself.
Huh? I come to know myself. I know the truth. You are all what? Satyanyvishis. And I will gain the truth. And by gaining the truth, what will be my advantage? I go beyond the sorrows of samsara. By gaining the truth, samsara anarthakam will be overcome. The illusoriness of this world will be understood. And they cannot trouble you anymore. Is it not? Atyanta Sukham. What is the study of the scriptures going to give you? Atyanta Sukham. and dukkha nivritti. More than that, it is not going to give you medals. It is not giving you pannadas or jewelry or nothing or nothing or nothing. Whatever this world values, you are not going to get by this study. And yet, the man who knows himself is held in the highest regard by the society for so long a time. Even today, even in this stupid materialistic world, such a man is held in high regard because he is not even wanting your regard also. He has gone beyond all needs. By the time, you bring him a lot of gifts and that, he says, for what? I am apta kamasya kaspriha. What is the desire for an apta kamaha? I am a fulfilled person. Have you understood? So study of scriptures make you fulfilled in whichever state you are, in whatever circumstances you are. Nitya truptaha, atma radihi, atma kridaha. You are playing with the atma. All are atmas. So you are not that running away from all society. You are in the society. You are playing with yourself in different mirrors. That's all. This person has a convex mirror. His mind is a convex mirror. That person's mind is a concave mirror. That person's mind is I don't know what all mirrors are there. Concave, convex. And when you are reflecting yourself in that concave mirror, you look different in that man. When you are in that convex mirror, you look different. One becomes like this face, the other becomes like... Have you noticed? Buy one convex mirror and concave mirror and see how you look in them. So also these people, but the light remains the same. It's appearing to be so different because of the distortion of the mirror. So also the light that falls on in a saint's mind is not different from the light that falls on a criminal's mind. Only difference is the mirrors are different. And hence, while it illumines the saint's mind and brings a blessing to the world, it warps the mind of the criminal and brings sorrow and sadness throughout the world. Light is not responsible. The mirror is, and the mirror is what? In you, what is the mirror? What is the mirror in you? Mind, intellect. Consciousness, no. Mind, intellect. Mind, intellect is the mirror in which the pure consciousness, when it falls, what happens? This pure mind, intellect reflects a glory which is approved by everybody. Is it not? You can make out that Brahma Varchas in a person. Whereas the mind is crooked. Muncha pathale theriyudun. Looking at his face only we can make out he is a crook. We say like that. And there is a glow, not the features or the handsomeness or the beauty of a man of realization. There is a glow which is the inner glow. not the peacefulness of the face. It is the peace of the mind and intellect which makes you look at him and sit there only. Go to see the Mahatmas, you sit there only. They emanate radiance. They emanate that Shanti all around. So that's what you are going to get by the study of the scriptures. Nothing tangible. Nothing tangible as the world thinks. What will you get? That only I can know, you will not know. Don't explain to anybody. You understand? That you come the way and you will also know. Trying to explain that state of the... I never felt the time when I talked. But now see, my throat tells, better you know the time. Want the time to finish fast. Okay, so having said that, and having seen that Mandukya alone is Muktika Upanishad. Yesterday Swamiji explained to you, Muktika Upanishad says that one Mandukya study will take you to Mukti. And what is Mukti? Before we enter into the word, Tatparya Nirnayam should be done properly. What is Mukti? In each one's mind, Mukti is some different. What according to you is?
Freedom from all limitations.
Okay. What limitation?
Any limitation.
Bondage. Yes, Gaudapada is going to tell you no bondage also is there. Simply we are imagining some bondage.
Bondage is a limitation.
If it is there. Whether there is bondage, we have to find out. That is what the study is going to do. Is there a bondage? One child takes that, skipping rope and go, do like this. The rope goes around the child and he says, I am bound. Now, did anyone bind it? You come this side, the rope comes out. So also is this bondage, what we are experiencing in the world, that I myself have created this bondage around me. I myself turn the other way around, it will go away. Whatever it is, that is a very technical question, whether bondage is there or not, whether mukti is required. For whom is mukti? For a bound person. Who is a bound person? Samsari. Why is he a bound person? Forgetting is true nature, and if he forgets, that is okay. Non-apprehension of the truth. Is it not? He also thinks I am something else. A misapprehension comes. Non-apprehension leads to misapprehension. And then you gives an individuality to yourself. I have forgotten myself and then I say, I am the son of so-and-so, I am the daughter of so-and-so, I am a doctor, I am a brahmana, I am a whatever. You understand? Your job or your caste, varnashrama, dharmas, you take upon yourself and say, I am all these things. Thus you limit yourself by so many things. Varna, ashrama. karma, everything limits you. And the time limits you. Then, Desha Kala, causality, everything limits us. This limited individual is a bound individual. You understand? So, how did the bondage come now? Bondage came because of my ignorance. So, how do I get out of this bondage? By knowledge. Don't say, no, I do some 10 pujas. Then my bondage will go. Samsara nivritti should happen. So I will call the Vadyar. Say, now remove my samsara. Do some homa. Like that we say. That way we can't get rid of Ajnana Kridena. What is that? Ajnana Kridam Karmam. There is a word, there is a this thing in there. What is? No, not that. Ajnana Kridam Dukham Jnanenaiva Nashyati. Not by any other. I am making my own. What is created by the samsara, which is created by ajnana, can be destroyed only by jnana. My ajnana of the rope has given rise to the idea of the snake. Now the snake is ajnana kridam. Is it not? When will that snake go? When I see the rope. Not by doing any 1,000 rituals. Don't go to the Jolsya and say, no, now I have seen a snake, please do something puja. So Sarpaya Namaha, Sarpaya Namaha, Sarpaya Namaha. Sarpa won't go. Why? Sarpa is born out of my ignorance. How can it go? So when will it go? When I see the rope. Is that clear? So moksha will happen not by removing your samsaric sorrows one by one and, like the gardener takes away the weeds. You are removing all your samsaric problems, then I will become muktaha. Not like that. Param drishtva nivartade. Upanishad says unequivocally that the moment you know the truth about yourself, that moment your ignorance has gone, your bondage has gone, and that is freedom. This freedom is what we call realization. Realizing the truth about yourself. Can I reach there by karma kodi bihi? Shankara says very beautifully in the Vivek Chudamani. Karma kodi bihi. Kodi karmas also cannot remove your ignorance. And we are all karmis. Unfortunately. Though we may study Mandukya and all that. After that you will do one big puja. For what? We don't know. That means nothing has gone in. So, to say that, Bhagavan, I don't know what all Papa I have done. I have called you as without any form. I have done many papas. So, do some puja for that. Like that we do.
after Mandukya study, if I get realized, then I don't have to do puja. But till I get realized, I have to do puja.
Is it something in future? I want to know that. Everything that is in the future is samsara. That's another mistaken notion. If I have not understood it just now, I am Brahman, when are you going to understand? I mean, some future, how can it happen? That is why we say, Sanyasya Shravanam Guru. After giving up all your attachments to various ideas and thoughts and vigrahas and everything, do the Shravana of the Upanishads. Then and there, in that Shravana itself, Shravana Kale, it should happen. Why? If it doesn't happen after hearing so many long years, it is because the mind has not become purified. Now, I am not against your doing any puja or anything. I also enjoy pujas. But they have very limited value. Until and bodhonyas sadhanebhyo hi sakshad mokshaiga sadhanam. Bodha, other than that knowledge, anya sadhanebhyo hi, other than all other things, that's the only thing which will give you moksha. Sakshad moksha eka sadhanam. So understand who you are and discard ruthlessly whatever does not fit in your picture. Don't say, what will people say? What will that man? One thing I tell you, your journey to yourself is a very sacred journey and a secret journey. This is not for discussion with anybody. Is it not? Only a foolish man will discuss all that. So, you grow in yourself, in your understanding. When you say in some future, the time lag that you are allowing yourself is to purify the mind. Chittasya shuddhayena vastuba labdhaye. A chitta shuddhi, if you have attained by your good deeds, by your good thoughts, by your good actions. You understand? With all that, the mind has become pure and purer and purer. The consciousness becomes very clear. To such a man, moksha is hasta malakam. It's like hasta malakam. There is no time lag. And there is no time to know yourself. If it is somebody else, yes, it takes time. But in myself, do I take time to know myself? So all these ideas that we have got from our samsaric sadhanas, slowly, one by one, tap, tap, drop. But devotion to the One, devotion to the Supreme should never be lost. That is not for any particular purpose. I am a small individuality, and though I am part of that infinite consciousness, I have to understand that infinite is mightier than me at this moment. So Bhagavan, God. Not for begging. Not for begging anything. Take me in your hands. Raise me to your state. Mama bhavam madbhavam agadaha puda jnanadavasa. Krishna says in the Gita. Jnanadavasa pudaha madbhavam agadaha. He comes to my own state. And what is that state? State of Sakshatkaram, which is called moksha. Moksha is not some peculiar thing which you can gain by some peculiar methods. No such thing. What I have created by ignorance, the ignorance is dropped. Immediately I am muktaha. Muktoha. Nothing binds me to this world. Okay, having for such mukti, Mandukya alone is enough, he says, in this Krishna. Now we enter the text itself. Before entering the text, this is the text. Before entering the text, we will do the 2 verses which Shankaracharya has written, the Mangalacharana verses in the Karika. For the Karika and the Bhashya, Agama Prakarana. The whole 215 verses, Karikas, and the 12 verses together are divided into 4. And they are called Prakaranas by no less a person than Bhagavad Pada himself. So the first Prakarana means which clarifies the Shastra. Is called Prakarana. And Prakaranas will be always a shloka. Prakarana will be always a shloka. Whereas glossary, you have got the differences, but glossary, Karika. Glossary will be always, whether prose or poetry, it doesn't matter, it is not a shloka. It is mostly critical analysis of the text. That is called glossary, to which the glossar adds his own thoughts also. Whereas Karika, if you want to know the... See, what is a glossary, I will tell you. Ukta, Anukta, Durukta. Vedikari, Vartika. Ukta, Anukta, Durukta, Vedikari, Vartika. Critical appreciation of the text. Now, Ukta means that which is said in the text. Anukta, that which is implied, not said. Implied words. Durukta, which is said badly, wrongly. Durukta. Vedikari, all of which are explained in a gloss. Whereas not in a Karika. You understand? Ukta, Anukta, Durukta, Vedikari, Vartika. And it can be prose or poetry, but the greatest Vartika is the Brihadaranyaka Vartika by Sureshwaracharya. This is the greatest Vartika. And another Vartika was also written by Sureshwaracharya, also wrote for Dakshinamurti Stotra, Manasollasa is another Vartika. There are Vartika Granthas which goes and explains the Bhashya, what is understood and what is said clearly and what need not have said and had been said, all that they take up for discussion in a Vartika. Whereas Karika is Alpakshara Tve Sadi. Alpakshara Tve Sadi. Though it is Alpakshara. Alpakshara Tve Sadi. Though it is Alpaksharam. Bahvartha Jnapakaha. Many meanings you can find in that. The words are few, but meanings that the words give is many. That is what is called a Karika. Bahuartha Jnapaka Shlokaha. And it will be in a verse. Shloka. Kariga. This is called Kariga. In a small Sandikdha words, he gives many meanings, many facets of that verse. It is called Kariga. Okay. And the other thing, what is a
Sanskrit word for glossary?
Glossary Vartigam. For Kariga, we are seeing now. Whereas the Prakarana Granthas are Shastraiga Egadeshe Sambandham Shastra Karyandare Stidam Ahu Prakaranam Nama Granthabheda Vibhaschitaha. Shastra fully doesn't explain. A Prakarana Grantha is for explanation of some difficult portions of the Shastra. They don't explain a whole Shastra, but some portions of the Shastra is taken up for elaboration and making it easy for the student. So, Shankara has written many, many Prakarana Granthas because the Shastras are very difficult. So, here he says, he has made all these Karigas into a Prakarana Granthas because they do both the works. The Mandukya Kariga does the work of a Prakarana Grantha, and that is why it is called also Agama Prakarana. The second is Vaidadhya Prakarana, the third is Advaita Prakarana, and fourth is Alara Shanti Prakarana. This we will take one by one, and it takes time. If my throat opens fast, we can go fast. Otherwise, even this speed is too much for me. Okay. So, now, in order to enter into the Shastra of the Mandukya Upanishad, first he gives the Onkara Nirnayam. Onkara Nirnaya Dwara Atma Jnana Nirnaya. So he takes up Onkara as the first verse and describes Onkara in such a way that throughout our study of Mandukya, we can meditate on Onkara. It is the sadhana is given first. Without that, it will be only merely intellectual gymnastics. Go on reading. Or even trying to show we know better than even this author. We do that. It's all natural for human beings. In fact, when you look at the Buddhist thought process, great Gurudev himself had said in the Dakshinamurti Stotra, these great thinkers of their times, Nagarjuna and others of the Buddhists, why they have made such glaring mistakes in their understanding of the scripture is because they put more value on their intellect than on the pure knowledge, in the pure consciousness. They put more faith in their own intellect. That we should never do. We may be intellectual, but we have limitations. Even if those great masters had limitations, where are we? You understand? That is why it is safer to go by the Shastra. Follow the Shastra. Have faith in the Shastra. Then you will understand Shastra has done you a great favor by not binding you to it. It directs you to think and to proceed. So, one has to be very, very careful in taking up the study of the scriptures. So, the Agama Prakarana is the Prakarana. It's a few things I wanted to tell you before. Now, Mandukya Megam Evalam Alam Mumukshunam Vimuktaye from Muktiga Upanishad, and Ramchandra ji told Hanuman this, that Mandukya alone is enough. So let us pay all attention to this Upanishad. Not that you should forget. You will go back and start studying one after the other. Till when? Till I die. Okay? Everybody. That is how Schopenhauer, a great French or German philosopher writes, the Upanishads was the study of my whole life. It was the solace of my life. It will be the solace of my death. So also, it should be the solace of our life, and it should be the solace of our death also. So we have to study. No, hereafter there is not a day which goes without the study of some little portion of the Upanishads. Take one by one the little Upanishads first and study. And Mandukya, as many times as you can, Gurudev had written in that list. See, he has given a list of study. In that he read Mandukya, as many times as you can, you revise. Shows its importance. So here you have to do that. Vedartha Sara Sangraha Budam. In the foundation, it is the foundation text for establishing the Advaita philosophy. What we call Kevala Advaita is established, and Shankara places all his arguments for all other Upanishads from the Mandukya itself. So it is the very basis, the very foundation of all Vedanta Artha Sara Sangraha. Now, mantra gives us the enunciation of truth. The 12 mantras gives us a window peep in the truth. Logical Kariga points out a line of inquiry and thinking. And the Kariga directs your thinking, directs your logical approach. That is what Kariga does. Kariga points out a line of inquiry and thinking. Now, here is a teaching which is direct. Like a straight arrow to the truth, it goes. It doesn't tell you so many stories. It doesn't tell you, here he says, there is no deviation, mentoring is not there. There is no deviation, no Srishti theory in it. No Adhyaropa Apavada. Nothing is there. The only thing Mandukya takes up is our own direct experience in the world, the 3 avasthas. See, in the Tattvabodh, the question is asked, what is Atma? And the teacher answers, Atma is Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharirat, Vidiriktaha, other than the 3 bodies. Nothing is said about the 3 bodies here. Panchakosha Aditaha, that which is beyond the 5 koshas. Nothing is said here about the 5 koshas. Panchakosha Adita. But he took the next. What is that? Avasthatraya Sakshi. The Sakshi Chaitanya alone is taken up for discussion in all these verses, in the Karigas. Avasthatraya Sakshi, Sachidananda Swarupa San, Yatra Tishtadi Sa. That which is Sachidananda Swarupa, that is called Atma. Okay? And he has taken it from that only Avastatraya. And why it is so important? No other religion has even attempted. For every religion, it stops with the waking state. Nothing more than that. Is not true?
Personal to us. It is so personal to us. Avatar.
You see? Only waking state what you are doing. In the deep dream state you can do whatever you want. In the deep sleep state also you can do whatever you want. They have never considered it. In fact, by analyzing that, the Hindu rishis came to the realization of the truth, which even today, with the advancement of science, also they are not able to negate. See the validity of that knowledge. Even today, no. Nobody has said that what the rishis have understood is not true. They dare not say. In fact, they are surprised. How they knew? They never had a laboratory. They never had science teaching. How did they know? The greatness of the rishis is something unbelievable. Everything, mathematics is learned by meditation. Chemistry is learned by meditation, not by having laboratories. Everything is learned. So many more. 100 years before the atom bomb was created, the Annie Besant and Leadbeater, those theosophists, in their moments of meditation, they found out the molecular value of hydrogen, the oxygen, everything, and they have written it down in a little piece of book like that, like a small book. This is the how many molecules, how many atoms in a molecule of oxygen, how many atoms in a molecule of hydrogen. They have written it down 100 years before. How did they know? In deep moments of meditation. Window peep. So you see, look at our rishis. How do they know that there are 22 mudras in Bharatanatyam? Bharata himself was only a saint. How did he know? Nothing, he meditated. And the 22, postures of the mudras came in front of him. And has it been changed till today? Now also the same mudras. The Rishi Vatsyayana, how he wrote, anything can be written about the science of love, he has written. Anywhere in the world. You understand? About this thing called love, which occupies the mind of many people all over the world. And Hindus have taken it like a science. And if you read the Kama Sutra of Vatsyayana, you will be surprised. Is he writing about love, or is he writing about not a word which is ugly in that, not a word which is ashlila in that book? Such a big book. Everything is so scientific. You want to seduce a lady, how can 32 different methods of doing it, and 32 methods. Like any other subject it is. Like any other subject. Long ago I read it out of curiosity, and I was surprised at the pure scientific approach to all this. The Hindu rishi Even today, I believe, when the mind has become empty of all dross, you can turn it in any direction and you gain the knowledge of it. You expose your mind. And this our rishis did. You understand? So, analyzing of these three states to arrive at, what did he arrive at? In that, Prapanchopashamam Shivam Advaitam. Prapancha Upashamam. Prapancha is negated. Upashamam. And Shivam Advaitam. Auspicious Advaitam was the result. And now, what is our sadhana then? Sadhya is what? Advaita Sakshatkara is the sadhana. What is the sadhana? Omkara Upasana. Okay. What is the sadhana? Omkara Upasana. What is the sadhyam? Advaita Sakshatkaram in the light of our experiences in the 3 periods of time. In the 3 periods of time, what is our experience? In the light of it, you come to own up the 4th. This is called the sadhya is gained by the sadhana which is in the mithya world of ours. The experiences that we gain in that world, and what will be our final stand? Sarvam Khaluvidam Brahma. Sarvam Khaluvidam Brahma. The entire universe is Brahman. Okay. Now the first Agama Prakarana contains the Upanishads and the 29 first Karigas. We will divide it afterwards when we do it. The 29 in this thing also it is the same way. 29 Karigas. What is Agama? Guru Shishya Paramparaya Agamam. What is Agamam? Guru Shishya Paramparaya Agadam is Agama. That knowledge which has come down to us through a brilliant lineage of Guru Shishya Parampara. Agadam idi Agamam. That is the definition of Agamam. Okay. The experiences of the 3 states dissolves in what? When you analyze the 3 states, it dissolves into the so-called 4th state, which is not 4th or anything. It has no number at all. But we call it 4th with reference to the 3 things that went before. Dissolves in the Turiya. Maya Matramidam Dvaidam Advaidam Paramarthada will be our understanding. Maya Matramidam Dvaidam. All the 3 states are Dvaidam only. Then what is Advaidam? Advaidam is the only Paramartham. Paramartham? The truth. The truth is only Advaita. When we do that, we will describe how the 4 matras, etc. by describing the 4 matras of the Omkara. This is accomplished. This is proved, actually. The second, this thing is called Vaidadhya Prakaranam, which is to prove the illusoriness of the world. Vaidadhyam means what? The mithyatvam, the anityatvam, the mithyatvam of the worldly experiences is called Vaidadhya Prakaranam, the second Prakaranam, which is some 38 verses or something. And in this Vaidadhya Prakaranam, Gaudapada says, na nirodho na chautpatti na baddho na cha sadhakaha na mumukshurna vai muktaha itesha paramarthada. All are just rubbish. Then what we have to do? You are mukta even now. Bas. Why don't you take it upon yourself? You are muktas. That we don't do. Even this verse we have to explain for what? Now, this is called Dvaita Vaidadhyam, meaning illusoriness of the Dvaita Prapancha is done in the second. Third is Advaita. And then somebody will ask, there are always samshayatmas in every class also. So they will ask, how do you know that Advaita is also not illusory? So in order to answer that samshaya, they say, no, Advaita is not illusory, Advaita is Paramartham. Is established in the third Prakarana. Advaita Srishtivada is negated in this Advaita Prakarana. And Manodrishyam idam dvaidam yatkinchit sacharajaram. And he propounds the theory of Asparsha Yoga and Ajadivada in the third Prakarana. In the fourth Prakarana is Allah. Now all the other four schools of thought, Nyaya Vaisheshikas, Sankhyas, Bauddhas, Veda Bhakyas they are all going to drink your blood. So what you have to do? You have to defeat them first. And in defeating, Gaudapada uses 100 karigas. Out of the 215 karigas, 100 karigas are to negate the stance of the four, the objections, the schools, the Nyaya Vaisheshikasi and the Sankhya's, all of them he rejects. Then when it comes to Bauddhas, he goes and studies the Bauddha theory completely. Before you negate something, you must know fully about it. Gaudapada wrote in the language of the Buddhists. The Aladi Shanti Prakaranam is in the language of the Buddhists itself, so much so, the other schools of thought, they said, this man is not a Vedantin also, he is a Prachanna Buddha. He is a Buddha, but he has put on the Vesham. Prachanna. Prachanna means Veshadari. They said like that, which is not true. Gaudapada was a staunch Advaitin and he made use of the Buddhist logic to defeat the Buddhist. Not our logic. Their own logic. With that, he defeats the Buddhist theory, and that is a bit tough for us. And he defeats all of them and established Advaita on its pedestal, which Sri Shankara took forward in to the coming generations, and Advaita is still surviving because of the great masters like this who adorned that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnas Purnamadaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah.